Well, g'day. Welcome to episode 3, Andrew Scar Models and Hobbies. Just going to do a quick rundown on the Kitty Hawk F5E Tiger. We finished it. And we're going to give you a bit of an introduction into our next kit on the rack. But if I just can pick this up. Alright, well, there she is, all done. Not much more to say about the kit than I have in the previous videos. I haven't overly weathered this one, but we've got it now, everything fitted, clear coat, dull coat, canopies on, armaments all on. A little bit of an issue with the armament too. Going through all the historical books and looking at photos online and God knows what else, I got really confused as to what armament to put on it. I built most of the bombs and rockets and missiles that came with the kit, and then decided sort of later on which ones I'd fit. So we've just got the sidewinders on the wingtips, main drop tank in the centre fuselage. I've left the outer pylons empty because apparently they wouldn't have carried ordnance on all the pylons at the same time. Some of them I found photos with drop tanks on the inner pylons and the freefall bombs on the outer pylon, some without the wingtip rockets, but I just like the look of them, so I've added them. And I'll try and get in close and give you a bit of a look-see at some of the details in the kit. You can see the holes in the bottom of my wheels. They're the holes I put in for sticking them on little cocktail sticks. It helps you to paint them. Obviously when the model's on display you can't see the holes, so I don't bother filling them, but anyway. You can see all the gear doors, air brakes all open. I'll try and get in there and see a little bit of that detail in there. That's all just straight out of the box. I haven't added anything to the kit, only lightly weathered stuff, so I haven't gone nuts with all the oil and smoke stains and God knows what else. You can see out at the front gear door bay there. Bit of a wash on the gear, on the wheels, etc. You can see how clear the canopy is. A little bit of distortion in it, but pretty good straight out of the box. So there you go. I've just done a light wash on this as well. And like I said, I haven't, made a complete and utter mess of the weathering. I didn't want to dirty it up too much. Decals went down really well. These are straight out of the box, not aftermarket. And you can see how, if I can zoom in there, so I don't get too close, you can see how well the decals have conformed to all the recessed panel lines and any raised detail. And then you put your wash over the top of them and get a really realistic sort of painted on look. Alright, bit of a wash in the ailerons, etc, etc. Tail marking decals went on really well. Clear parts were a bit of a problem. A lot of them didn't fit, and with my massive hands it's really hard to clean up the tiny little parts. But they all went on there eventually. Just used Tamiya's XF colour range, their acrylic, clear blue and clear reds. Guns installed, that's all the gun bay detail. A little bit of a wash in there, and a mixture of Testors Model Master Lacquer metallizers to make that. I've used those on the internals of the gear doors as well, and on all the gear. But overall, the kit went together quite well. As you can see, cockpit belts I didn't like, but I put them in there anyway. Cockpit detail. The kit cockpit is really good. There's really nothing to add. There's plenty of detail in there. See if I can zoom in inside there. Get a bit closer without distorting it all too much. Now that there is just simple kit supplied decals, and I've used Mr. Mark Setter and Softer to get those to conform to that moulded dashboard. A little bit of touch up, a little bit of hand painting, etc. in there. That gives you a good idea how clear the canopies are in these kits. Really, really good, the canopy parts. There you go. So, flip it over, you can see in there on the other side. Right. On the side instrument panels, that's all decals. So I thought I'd give it a try. Usually I hand paint and dry brush and all that sort of stuff to bring up all the detail in the cockpit. But this time I thought I'd give the kit decals a go, and they worked really well. So there you go. So that's the F5E Tiger 2. She's all done. Alright. Not really much more to show you. So there you go. Anyway, just nearly broke that part off. As I was saying earlier, I did build just about all the weapons that were provided in the kit, and I really wanted to put these on. I think these are, what were these ones? Big AIM 9s, are they? I think, or AIM 7s, something like that. Again, kit decals, just airbrushed, clear coated, decals applied, then flat coated. I was going to put them on the outer pylons, but decided against it. But anyway, there you go. So that's the Kitty Hawk 1/32 scale F5E Tiger 2. She's all done and dusted. And going to a new subject. This will be the next cab off the rank. Okay. From one extreme to the next. Okay. This is a fairly old tooling. Reboxed more recently with some extra parts. It includes parts for two variants. So it's the old Tiger 1. You can't beat the old Tiger 1. The kit provides you with the Zimmerit panels to apply. Also comes with some photo etch, grills, and the side skirts. I'm not going to use the side skirts in this case. I'm going to stick with the plastic parts, and I'll show you why in just a second. You can see 1/35 scale, yeah, and there you can see it on the spine of the box. It's an upgraded kit, so it's just a rebox of an old mould with some new extra parts in it. I think it includes 4 different marking options in the kit. We're going to do the winter 1943-1944 Russia. So we're going to do a snow sort of look. Now this kit here, haven't done an armour kit in a long time. So this is going to be about a bit of a throwback to the past. And as you can see, as per normal, the kit is pretty much built. That's the top of the turret. And you can see just by looking at that, the kit, the moulded parts, it's got that sort of finish on it. It's sort of like rolled metal finish. Alright, some of the turret parts in place on the top of the turret. I might just move this box out of the way for the sec. Alright, so that's the top of the turret. Okay, as you can see, the chassis, the main chassis part of the tank is pretty much there. It's ready for paint. Alright, if I can get in close to that, you can see some of the surface detail. A little bit of a poor fit. The lid, the top part of the chassis was a poor fit, so I had to sort of wangle it to get it to fit. A little bit of filler here and there. Alright. Hatches, this one's openable. This one I've closed. Guns installed. I've made the gun immovable. I don't like all the little sticky out bits to be too easily broken. Alright, so you can see the photo etch parts I've put on the tank. Alright, all the exhaust sections are all fitted. and you can see the Zimmerit panel that's applied to the kit. That's all kit provided, and you might notice if you look closely, because we're going to fairly heavily weather this one, I've also started sort of working away at the Zimmerit with a little bit of battle damage. Alright, so we're going to use all sorts of washes, and I might even give the old hairspray chipping treatment a crack on this one. Alright, so you can see there's gouges in the Zimmerit. Alright, give it a bit more realism. Alright, and if I have a chance today, I might even put, or start at least, putting a base coat on this. I'm going to prime this one. Don't usually prime my models. I use a lot of enamels, so I find that as long as your plastic parts are relatively clean, you get good adhesion with your paint. I mean, really, the whole idea of a primer is to give you overcoating colours a surface to really bind to. But when you're using enamels, it's not as important. They'll stick to just about anything. But you might be able to see a little bit of detail in there. So it's not a bad kit. It's actually quite detailed kit for its age. This is an Italeri kit. Some of you might not have had a lot to do with Italeri. Like all the manufacturers though, I reckon. They've all done some good ones and some bad ones. This one so far seems to be a pretty good one. Alright, so Tiger 1. So anyway, that's the hull section. We've got a myriad of road wheels. This is probably one of the reasons why I haven't done a tank in so long. All the road wheels can become really repetitive. And quite often a lot of the ways I like to do it is to sort of bag each section as I build it, and I number the sections because I'm going to refer back to the instructions as to whether they're the inner or the middle or the outer wheel, whatever. So you keep track of what's what. Alright, so I've sort of done all the road wheels, and even on some of these I've done a little bit of damage on them as well, so that'll sort of all marry into the chassis. Alright, but we've got to prime all this stuff. More turret parts. It's got a little bit of internal detail in the kit as well inside the turret, as you can see in there. What you're going to see of that is, I don't know why they bothered, to be honest, because even with the top hatch open you're going to see pretty much stuff all. But you can see the way that's applied there. That's the Zimmerit sheet. Alright. Okay, the Zimmerit sheet comes on a separate piece. I glue and clamp one end, and as it cures I go along and glue and clamp to the front end until it all sets. You can see it the same on the other side. Alright. So that's the Zimmerit sheets applied. Alright. Okay. Being a tank, it'll lend itself really well to heavy weathering, so we're going to go a bit crazy with oil washes and all sorts of stuff here. There you go, there's the gun, the main gun. I'm using the kit barrel. You can go after market, you can buy metal barrels for these and all sorts of stuff. Sort of, you know what, a little bit of stealth sanding. Really, you won't know the difference once it's painted, and I'll show you that as we go along. And the Zimmerit on the front of that was pre-moulded on that piece, so you didn't have to actually attach the Zimmerit there. That's all moulded onto that part. A little bit interior detail again on the gun, but once again, once it's inside the turret you're not going to see it. So yeah, it's a barrel, and that's under the process of sanding at the moment. It's just about there. I reckon a coat of primer on that, you won't even see that seam, but we'll do a little bit more work on that. Stowage box, that goes on the rear of the turret. Right, you know, you've all seen Tiger 1s before, you probably know what this is, and I've put a few little gouges in there, bullet hole on the back of the stowage box, and just sort of chipped the edges. Alright, so this one's kind of been a little bit battle wearied. Alright, but it's going to just add a little bit of realism to the kit when it's done, and it gives us scope for more weathering. So, what else have we got? These are the shrouds, rear shrouds for the exhaust, so like the covers that go on the rear of the tank, and the exhaust covers. So they'll be on here, like so. And again, this, like looking at real photos of the real thing, that was kind of quite a thin metal, and I guess hanging out there was prone to damage. So we've really kind of gone to town on that, and I've kind of bent the edges and, you know, scratched it up, damaged it up. So we'll be able to do a bit of rust weathering and all that kind of stuff. Obviously there's 2 of those to go on. That's the other hatch for the top of the tank. I'm undecided whether I'm going to make it movable or not. You can't see anything inside it anyway, so it's just another part that will be easy to break off if I leave it movable. But I might show it open, and then we can paint and weather a little bit on the inside. Like I said, this is probably going to end up doing my head in. Tanks, road wheels, well, more. Alright, so they're the big drive cogs. The idle wheels. More road wheels. As you can see, like I said, I've bagged them so I know what's what and what's going to go where. Good example where I've taken parts off the sprue. They're all parts in a kit that aren't used for the version that I'm doing. Alright, but great for spares in your spare box. Alright, so don't chuck them, just bag them up, and I'll keep those for use for a later day. There's your photo etch fret. Alright. That's your side skirts, but I don't think I'm going to use them. I'm not really sure. I haven't decided. Again, these bits of photo etch here, these are for these. I don't see why they're going to create any more scale realism than these will. The parts were quite thin. I don't know, I might have to do a bit of sanding and filling and stuff, but you know, really, it's a simple job. So I'm sticking with the plastic parts. I'll see how it goes. If I don't like the look of it, then I might come back to use the photo etched parts, but at this point I'm quite happy with the plastic parts. You can see where I've removed the grills off the photo etch and applied them to the model. Alright, so they're all on, ready to go. Decals, well, pretty simple, eh? They look a bit thick, these, to be honest. But like I said, I'm going to use the kit parts. I like to build out of the box. Not everybody's got an endless budget to go online and, you know, turn their $50 kit into a $150 kit by an aftermarket. So I like to build stuff out of the box and keep it nice and simple, keep the cost down a bit. So we've got a lot of work to do here with priming. Road wheels, there's my side skirts. As you can see, I've already started kind of kit bashing them as well. Alright, so I'm going to separate the panels, damage them a bit, bend them up a bit, and I did start doing this one. I'm going to do the same on both sides. Try and make them look like a separate panel. Alright, so rather than just rely on the recessed panel line here, I'm actually going to separate them. And I guess that would be one benefit of using the photo etch parts. They're already sort of done for you, but I don't know, I'm going to use the plastic parts and see how we go. Right. The tracks. Okay, probably the other reason why I haven't done a tank in so long. The tracks just do my head in. Tracks and road wheels, I don't get it. But anyway, these are moulded plastic parts, and according to the instructions, I think from memory all the kits I ever did, all the armour kits I used to do in the past, they're all those vinyl tracks, but I'm going to use the plastic kit parts. The only thing I don't like about it is you get the section that's all fixed in one piece. Alright, so you're not having to glue each individual link for that whole length for each side of the tank. The only problem with that is where you go, when you transition from here to the next link, always looks a bit odd. You always end up with this kind of 90 degree, so we're going to have to work on that. We're going to try and fold that or heat it up and bend it a lot to make a better transition from the fixed part to all the little individual link. And then as you go around the drive cogs, you have to glue individually to the drive cog and then line it all up. So that'll be a bit of fun. Like I said, probably one of the reasons why I haven't done a tank in so long. I remember the tracks always used to just drive me insane. But we're going to give them a crack. And I like painting and gluing the plastic parts, the provided plastic parts. There's the other cover for the rear exhaust. Alright, so you get 2 sprues of those. All sorts of little fittings on here. Canisters, etc. Aerials. Guns are in there. Tools. Front fenders. All your cabling and stuff. I'll leave them on the sprues because I'll do the initial paint process on the sprue. Alright, and glue them on later. A lot of people that do armour, they'll actually glue these onto the kit and paint them on the kit. I prefer to do it off the kit and add them later. But there you go, that's going to be our next little task. Alright, so alright, there's the instructions, all pretty simple, straightforward. They give you Model Master callouts in here, which is a bit refreshing. Being as I use them, but look, it doesn't really matter. Go if the kit provided instructions that you're using, no matter what kit you're doing, they'll give you call-outs for colours for specific manufacturers. It really doesn't matter. Just do your research, get online, have a look what colours the tanks are painted in, and just find the next nearest colour. Just match it up. It's not that hard. And let's face it, these things saw some real battering during the war. The colours changed, so they weren't all nice and new out of the factory for very long. And this one being Eastern Front, so wet, mud, snow, rain, oh my god, it would have been filthed up. So the original colours wouldn't have stayed original for very long, so don't be too fussed about matching up with the kit suggested colours. Just find, you know, your own variant depending on what sort of paint you use. I won't faff about the kit too much. You can see, just follow the kit as per the instructions. Like I've shown you with all the road wheels, I've sort of pre-built all this modularly. Alright, I can paint things and add as we go. It's all pretty straightforward, nothing too flash about this one, nice and simple. Alright, and there's your colour call-outs. Alright, it's black and white, but it's good descriptive instructions. Really, really simple, easy to follow, nice and clear, not too over the top and too techy. There's our Russian tank there. And you'll notice, other than the colours, obviously flat white, Dunkelgelb, which is basically dark yellow, Panzer colour. That refers to the actual real paint colour that they used. So if you're trying to match up, use the description of the colour rather than the numbers, because the numbers refer to a specific manufacturer, etc., etc. Again, you can get on the internet and you can call up paint conversion charts and all sorts of stuff, or get onto the forums and speak to the guys. There's so many armour guys out there that'll be able to tell you what colours to use. But one big difference, not just with the colours from each version, so this is version A, this is the one we're doing. Version B, not all the fittings on the tank were the same, especially on the rear of the tank, I noticed. Now, I'm not a tank aficionado. I just love Tiger 1. I've got to admit it. It's just a nasty looking machine. But there were slight differences with the fit out of the tanks, what they carried, and the way of tools, guns, accessories, and all the rest of it. So anyway, there you go. So that's the one we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing version A, this one here, which is that one there. You can see on the spine of the box. Right. I'll get used to angling this the right way around. 1943-44 Russian winter. Alright, that's another Russian tank, but different markings. We want to do this sort of white, sort of bleached kind of colour, just for something different. Alright, so there you go. And that's it. So that'll be the next video coming up, hopefully not too distant future. And we're going to do a bit of a rundown on a new paint. So it's one of Tamiya's acrylics. It's a lacquer based acrylic, and these are the paints we're going to use to paint this tank. Alright, I have used these before. They airbrush beautifully. Obviously the obvious difference from the acrylics, standard acrylics, your XF colours, we go to LP, lacquer paint. Alright, XF denotes flat, X67 would be the gloss of that colour. Alright, then we go to the lacquer acrylic, LP, for the new Tamiya lacquers. Alright, they're a bit smelly. Alright, again, I use enamels, but these really do stink. Alright, and they really fume up your room really fast. Alright, so you really got to use face mask or dust mask, something or other, when you're using these. Plenty of airflow if you can work near an open window, and if you've got an extraction unit, even better. Alright, but they're going to be our main three colours, so white, That's kind of a light sand. So like I said, referring back to the instructions, they tell you use a dark yellow or dunkelgelb. Same sort of thing. And like I said, we're going to weather the crap out of the tank. So the original colours are going to be massively changed with weathering. And the LP18, the dull red, I'm going to use as a primer coat. Alright, so most of these tanks, as far as I understood it, came out of the factories in this dark, deep, almost wine red base coat. So that's going to be my primer colour. And then later on, as we chip and weather and expose the top layers of paint, this will come through. And on top of that, oil wash, pigments, a bit of pin washing, and some chipping effects to add to the weathered effect of the tank. Alright, so that'll be the next one, and I'll show you when I start the actual painting process, which I'm about to. We'll be using the dual action airbrush. The last video I showed you a really simple single action Pz.H. Real workhorse of an airbrush, that one. So easy to use, bit of a fiddle to clean, blah blah blah, but really easy to use, especially if you're a beginner and if you're a first time user with an airbrush. The Pz.H or any decent quality single action airbrush is a really good way to start. Alright, and the reason I say that, look, I've probably said it before, you don't have to have gotten used to this whole dual action, you know, press for air, pull for paint. It's really easy to overdo your paint flow, etc. Alright, but that's the airbrush I'm going to use for this kit. And the next step with this one, we'll be doing the base coat or a primer coat with Tamiya's new LP range Lacquer acrylics. Alright, so until next video, I'll sign off. Take it easy, guys.